Greetings, geeks. Welcome to episode 542 of Geeks in Space. I am Rob Commander Tom Moyle. Joining me today on this very fine Friday is two of the greatest geeks you're ever going to meet who are going to pretend that they're in low Earth orbit for 5 minutes and talk about Chris Nolan and crap. Chris DeBona.
When have we ever only taken 5 minutes?
Well, only 5 minutes for Christopher Nolan and Rob Roseboom.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Rob.
Did we lose Rob?
Hey, I'm sorry.
There's no video for you, Rob. Is there video for Rob?
I see him.
You see him? Great. Okay, that's
I'm dropping frames again on the live stream, but at least right now I'm only dropping 15%. I'm pretty sure that's Comcast. All right. Chris Nolan. Apparently, there's an interview going around that other directors have told him that his movies are inaudible. And holy crap, are they right?
They're super right. Super right.
In our house, we refer to the mandatory Inception blomp. But also,
sorry about the screen size there. Okay.
Interstellar, that was the one that really got me. I saw Interstellar in a really nice theater and couldn't understand a lot of the dialogue.
You know, that's true, but also a lot of it was just gibberish and nonsense. We can return to my Christopher Nolan rant that, you know, he makes beautifully, incredibly well executed nonsense.
You're not wrong.
So thank you.
You're not.
Thank
wrong.
you for coming to mind.
Tenet doesn't come out until December 15, so
I mean,
do we know where it's coming out yet? Is
streaming.
it going to be HBO Max Plus, Go,
Doesn't
Nexus?
matter.
Christopher Nolan is no Michael Bay, but
What does that mean?
you said he makes wonderful looking nonsense.
Oh,
And
yeah.
well, you know.
So does Michael Bay. But yeah, with Michael Bay, it's always being blowed up.
See,
So,
yeah.
Michael Bay has a different problem. Michael Bay doesn't know how to draw your eye. Michael Bay's directorial style is to force you to go cross-eyed when you watch one of his movies. There's just so much crap on the screen. You can never figure out what it is I'm supposed to look at.
Yeah. So
With Chris Nolan,
You're
you know
right.
what to look at because that dude frames some shots these days.
you know, you're absolutely right about that. Like when you watch a Michael Bay movie, it's just all the nonsense is on the screen, screaming at you to pay attention, and it sucks. It's just no good. You know,
I can't watch Transformers, and I actually kind of like the first Transformers.
I like the first Transformers, and I like Bumblebee, but
Bumblebee's great.
Yeah, I thought Bumblebee was great, but Bumblebee was great because it was it was the Stranger Things version of Transformers, right? It was
yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
so much 80s style in it that it, you know, made you forget that's another shitty Transformers movie.
Plus, it was directed by that guy who directed all those Leica movies. So, you know, if you got a background in stop motion, I guess you care a little bit more about what your movie looks like than if you're Michael Bay.
Really, I didn't know that.
Yep. Okay, so there's a petition going around to get LeVar Burton to be the new host of Jeopardy.
You know, I think that would be lovely. I
actually
think he'd
that
do a
would be good
fantastic
casting.
job. And you know, because Alex Trebek was like this genuinely sweet guy, and so is LeVar Burton. They'd
Right.
be perfect. You know,
Yep.
he'd have sympathy, and you know, for the losers who can't answer the questions, and you know, it'd be great.
Plus, he wouldn't need a teleprompter because I assume that the visor,
He'd wear the
just, like,
visor.
has that built in.
Right.
Yeah,
it
I'm still freaked out every time I see LeVar Burton without a visor. Just for the record,
Dude, I'm freaked out every time I see LeVar Burton in 2020 because that dude is old.
is he? How old is LeVar Burton?
It doesn't matter how old
LeVar
he is. I've been watching The
Burton,
Next
yeah.
Generation. I just rewatched, 7
He's
seasons of The Next
63.
Generation.
You know, he's a good-looking fella, though. you
For
know?
sure, but he's 30 years older than what my brain says he should look like.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm 30 years older than my brain said I should look like. So.
Although, you know, maybe it's time we take the Jeopardy host in new direction, right? Like maybe for these times, a kinder, gentler host isn't what we need. Maybe we need a jerk.
Are you saying we need the Big Show or Donald Trump?
No, not necessarily the Big Show. Something more akin to Donald Trump. Someone like Snide, maybe,
Ooh.
who who makes fun of people who miss obvious questions.
Duh.
Well, that
know?
might get Trump out of office if he has a good, solid gig waiting for him.
Yeah, that's true.
Maybe that'll get him, off the toilet in the Oval Office.
From what I could tell, he's not very good at reading a teleprompter, though. So
no.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah.
I disagree with the answer. Give them 300.
Jeopardy would end up having to be an hour-long show so that he could get through all the words.
Ugh.
And he'd have to do it from prison. Sorry,
Yeah,
there's no way he's going to prison.
No.
I'm with you on that camp.
I
have lots of friends who talk about it, and no.
You guys don't understand.
It's never going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, no, we understand. We're just pining for a different world, Rob.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Every election, every side says they're going to do that to the guy going out. That's just how it is.
That's not how it used to be.
That's actually not true. That's not true.
I bet if you went back a century and looked at your news
Republicans
articles,
wanted to go after Clinton for sure.
It ebbs and flows for sure.
For sure. Nobody really cares about Carter and Ford.
Yeah.
Ford got into the office because. Sorry, go ahead, Roseberg.
I was going to say people just need to read a little bit about Andrew Jackson if they think Trump is the worst president or that this time was the most turmoil we've ever been in.
Right.
Because, it turns out history has lots of Donald Trumps in it.
Yeah.
Turns out shit's bleak.
We get a new one of those. We get a new one of those every I don't know, every 50 years. How long was Nixon?
He won his second term, and then he was impeached and resigned in disgrace, and then he was pardoned by Spiro Agnew, right? Spiro, yeah. Ford, yeah. Ford, yeah, because Spiro Agnew had to go too.
Oops.
Why did I say Spiro Agnew? Anyway,
you just said Spiro Agnew is in an anagram for grow a penis.
Whoa.
Is it?
Yes.
How long have you known that?
My whole life.
Rob Mulder knows all the anagrams for grow a penis.
Yep.
You'd be amazed at all the different words.
I'm going to the internet anagram server.
It's going to happen. Okay, here's a funny one for you, Chris, because you hate Macs with more heat than anybody I know.
It's not that I hate them. I don't get it.
No, I get it. You have a whole thing worked out. I get it. A routine, a Seinfeld-esque routine.
That's true.
But Mac users
hilarious.
Mac users are having a bit of a time because they released the final version of Big Sur, their new operating system release, and so of course you now have tens of millions of Macs downloading this update. And in the process, this burden caused one of their authentication servers to freak out somehow. Which means basically applications aren't launching on a lot of Macs today, yesterday. And the fix at the time was to set the DNS of the server that it was looking up to null, so that you could
0.0.0.0. Yeah.
I mean, it does anger me, at a base philosophical level, that our computers have to authenticate to servers in order to work. We do truly live in the dystopian future.
Well, I mean, this is really, I saw this between the M1 Max that launched and this is them saying, unless you clear your application with Apple, you will not be running on Apple products.
For sure.
Right. And it's just like the doubling, tripling, quadrupling down of the Epic, story. And it's like, I don't want that much control over, when you spend good money on something, you should be able to run what you want, so.
Yeah, Chris, I totally agree. I think that when a company gets too big, it's important that we really look at the stack. We maybe have to get some sort of antitrust involved.
I was just saying I want to be able to use the hardware that I purchase, and I think that's reasonable. I'm not going anywhere near a top. Oh, look over here. I'm going to walk over here.
I mean, your screen's off. You can go wherever you want, man.
My screen is off?
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you turned it off.
Dude, I didn't mean to.
Oh, yeah, that's weird because I like Mulder just assumed you were changing clothes or something, or
taking
a quick shower.
You were dropping a tube.
You.
Doing a Jeffrey Tubin.
No, I'm doing the Tubin. Good Lord.
That's a dance now that people are doing on TikTok. They're doing the Tubin.
They're doing the Tubin?
Yeah.
Is it like a Flossin but with more wang?
I don't know.
Oh, speaking of which, the Internet Anagram server, a wise prong.
A wise prong
is good. A rope swing.
Ooh, that's
Oh,
good.
I like that one.
A power sign.
Wow.
A worse ping.
That seems reasonable.
A spew groin. I guess groin is in there. That's really interesting.
You can work with a lot if you.
Here's one for the religious. For the religious folks, a pew's groin. So.
Huh.
All right. Well, I know you guys have been pretty seriously. Oh, go ahead. Do it.
Anger eye swap.
Like EYE?
I.
Oh, that's
I
not
the
nearly as
letter.
good.
Ew, no, I'm not gonna read that one. That's gross.
It's much better to say I swap anger.
Rage nips ow.
Well, if you got a tight shirt, for sure.
Yeah.
So Pope Francis is urging the followers. What religion is the Pope in charge of?
I think the Catholic.
Okay.
Yeah.
He's urging then Catholics pray that AI and robots will always serve mankind. And let me just say, I'm glad that we're building a prayer wall now to defend us against the AI.
Well, that's a cookbook.
We got to. I mean, he's angering some of his more staunch base. What with him backing civil gay unions?
Yeah.
The base
a couple weeks ago
is not thrilled. You know?
Yeah.
Can I just say that sucks? Like, why are people dicks?
Well, there's
so many reasons.
Take a ancient religion and you try to update it to modern times. Some folks are going to have a problem with it.
Mm-hmm. Some Supreme Court members.
Yeah.
I don't know. I have a really, really, really hard time with that. Like, they're not making you watch. Like, maybe it's just okay that they have a wedding cake.
Oh, man. The wedding cake thing.
Oh.
Well, just keep thinking that, and we'll have more earthquakes and hurricanes, Rob, because
thanks,
you
Rob.
know what causes those.
Sin.
Yep. Well, I've been praying really hard. I know the prayer wall has been a little bit weak on the south side of Michigan. So I've been praying extra hard to defend us from the COVID, which ain't going well in Michigan these days either.
No, we're back down to basically lockdown again.
Yeah, what they say, lockdown on Monday?
Yeah, they've released new fines, new guidelines for.
I saw the fines. That was fascinating.
So yeah.
I hadn't even thought about this. I don't know if it was you who said it, Rob, but hunting season starts.
Yeah, it starts in the 15th.
Wow.
And that's, in terms of super spreader events, like that's the sort of time of year where, you get together with your high school buddies who you haven't seen all year and go stay in a cabin for a weekend.
Well, and say what you will, but deer hunting is almost a holiday here in Michigan.
Oh, for sure.
And there are a limited number of buck pulls and weighing stations and that sort of thing, and they are going to be filled with hunters. So yeah, your point is well taken there. Hopefully that doesn't spread. That doesn't end up being a vector for contagion, but I am not hopeful.
Well, I was just looking up if coronavirus affects deer, and they're like, we're not sure. Chronic wasting disease is causing so much problems with the deer that they could be getting coronavirus, and we just wouldn't know it. And it's like, oh gosh. And the thing is, I have to tell you, I think deer, like without a hunting season, they're going to be everywhere. They're going to be a plague on your state.
Dude, you should live here. It's crazy.
Oh yeah. In my lifetime, I have hit 3 deer.
Yeah, I hit one and almost died. You know that, right?
Yep.
It's like, I roll my car.
I
And
have
it's
four
like,
of them. I have four of them that like to nap in my backyard.
yeah. Apparently, there's some on the island here too. But no, so like, I just remember I was on a backboard being loaded into an ambulance, right? And the sheriff guy, he comes up, he's like, "Hey, I got a question for you." I'm like, "What's that?" He's like, "So, the deer." I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "You gonna eat that?" And I'm like, "No, you can have it." He's like, "Really? I can give you some sausage." I'm like, "No, that's cool. You go for it, buddy." And he's like, "All right, thanks, man. That's really nice of you." And I'm like, "Sure."
Yeah, the deer I hit by the old Dexter office. I was pulled over to the side checking out how trashed my car was when a pickup truck came and some dude asked if I wanted the deer. I said no, and his companion hopped out, and he and his companion dispatched the deer, and were threw it in the back before I even left.
We have.
I think that's great.
I mean, without even thinking, one former Slashdot editor and Rob, our friend who works at the deli, they both are big hunter types, and go to the cabins. And I don't know what their plans are during COVID, but I mean, this is a particularly sensitive thing for Whitmer, right? They just she nearly got kidnapped, or there was the plot to kidnap her. And she got her court case thing overturned for all the various lockdown stuff earlier in the year. So the whole northern half of the state, where the hunters primarily live, hate her. And they're locking things down tighter on the first day of hunting season. I mean,
I don't know. I think that if they tied testing to license, granting, that'd be great.
Work.
You're
crazy. That's reasonable.
No, it would be great. And like the hunters would then know they didn't have it. I mean, everyone wants to know they don't have it.
No, it's a conspiracy, Chris. It's an invention by the media.
Well, I mean, you have to tag your deer when you tag it.
Yeah.
And they have DNR check stations where you can go and have your deer checked for chronic wasting disease, a bunch of other diseases and stuff like that. It would be simple for them just to put swabs in there, but to Rob's point, a lot of people would just,
No, it's philosophically
drive away.
Impossible. I mean, that's gonna probably change in the next 6 weeks. I mean, you just see what's happening, like in like the Dakotas or whatever, where they're like at 1% of their population infected now. I mean, if Michigan gets there, then.
Well, yeah, they were saying it was getting close to 1% in the Dakotas, which, who could have seen this coming with Sturgis?
Right.
Oh, wait, no, we explicitly.
I think that the problem with that, though, too, is that I mean, this is a distribution problem, because it's 1%, but only because the population is so low, and then there's like one school that gets a big outbreak in a big city.
Right.
And then suddenly, it's 1% because there's just not a lot of people that lives there. The actual problem is that the other 90% of people live far enough apart. Well, first of all, they're probably safe because they're not encountering densely populated areas on a daily basis anyway, because they live out in the sticks. But they're the ones who are just going to continue to not believe that this thing is real.
Right.
The sad thing is that until everybody knows somebody who's at least had it, this is gonna go on. Like, I've had friends on intubate that have been intubated. Like, if everybody knew somebody who'd been intubated, I guess you'd change your mind.
Maybe. You'd hope so.
All I'm saying is that if you look at those charts, everybody's gonna know somebody who got intubated in another month or two.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, so what are the death rates for this thing nowadays? Like,
I don't know anyone who's been intubated, but I have not in my family, but my wife's family, her brother had it. A bunch of people I went to high school with have caught it. So.
Yay. Hey, but good news. Umbrella Academy is getting a 3rd season.
I'm looking forward to this. I enjoyed the first 2 seasons quite a bit. Mostly.
I think that I think season 2 of Umbrella Academy is as good of a season as almost any season of any modern streaming show that I've enjoyed.
I think that's true. I mean, it was really well done, man. It was, yeah. I'm with you, dude.
The one of those that I'm really wondering about is Doom Patrol, just because they fell apart kind of at the end because
Oh, they did?
they got their filming cut short.
No, because of COVID.
Because of the COVID, and so like they combined. They basically, as far as I can tell, they chopped an episode from the production, and so the end of the season just really feels weird.
Also, it's hard to have something that sort of avant-garde be consistently good. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's hard to write a story for something that's that weird. Like,
Well,
I think Legion suffered from that
Totally.
hugely.
I think that those are really good examples. Legion and Doom Patrol are both really good examples of shows that would be well suited to the single season, drop the microphone and get out. Because
like Watchmen, man.
Yeah, Watchmen. Yeah, but Watchmen at least, I don't know. I don't know that I want to see another season of Watchmen, but I liked Watchmen a lot. But I don't know if I want to see another season.
I mean, they nailed that sucker.
But with the surreal stuff, you're walking a razor's edge, and eventually the bottoms of your feet are just going to be cut up, no matter how it works. You know, it's going to be hard. Let's see. Arecibo telescope. They had another cable break. There's more bad pictures.
And there's more coming. Honestly, it's super dunzo. They're gonna. I mean, absent like a major, like emergency. Yeah, this thing's just falling apart.
I mean, if they film a second,
the hurricane,
a Contact sequel, they just CG it. They wouldn't even bother filming there anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it's heartbreaking, these pictures too. You know, it's like, dude, not okay.
Did either of you watch this week's Discovery?
You did. You said you liked it.
That was last week.
No, you said Below Decks.
Oh, I watched.
Didn't you say that?
I caught up on Lower Decks yesterday.
Lower Decks, yeah.
But why?
I enjoyed. It was the second to last episode of the season. I enjoyed it.
So let me show you my visualization of Lower Decks. There, it's that. It's the Arecibo telescope.
Wow.
Yeah. Except part of it needs to be on fire, and there isn't enough stink lines.
Stink lines.
No, they did a thing in the ninth episode where one of the characters has to go to the holodeck to like be inspired, and they live in. They basically have all of the cast of Lower Decks, but the setting of the holodeck is a Star Trek movie. So everything is all of the tropes that make the movies distinct from the TV series are really front and center. And so like they do the thing where they have like the minute-long panning across the spaceship as they slowly board it. And talk about how great their spaceship is, like how everybody's like solving all the problems with laser guns. Like they really make fun of that, and I thought it was very lovingly done.
Okay, it still sounds horrible. Sorry.
Fair.
They're not gonna be recovered from my perspective.
Last week's episode of Discovery was really good. It was all about the Trill stuff. And I don't usually care about Trill stuff, but I thought they did a really good job with it. This week's episode was kind of a mess.
See, that's interesting, because I didn't care much for the Trill episode, but I thought this episode I kind of liked. It was the first one that I was like, all right, I can stand this now.
Who was the special guest star that they were talking about? Some Trill?
Are you talking about this week?
Jadzia Dax? Yeah.
No, but there's a one of the I don't want to get too spoilery.
Don't get too spoilery. You're right.
The Trill symbiote is apparently an admiral from the Starfleet in ages past, and that's a plot line now. So you've got a former admiral on the ship. I really liked the performance of the symbiote actor in that episode. I'm still a little unsure on the person carrying the symbiote, but I like the symbiote.
Also, where's the symbiote, right?
Oh yeah,
where's she?
What do you mean where?
Like a symbiote.
Well,
pouch.
it's not. It's she's not a Trill.
Right.
She's a human.
Everything's going crazy here.
So, where is the symbiote inside of her?
Where do you keep your symbiote, Rob?
Well, I know where I keep mine, but I'm not
It's
saying
in my mask. Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wear a mask, people. Sorry.
Well, I think we can at least agree that isn't Tig fantastic as the engineer?
I've been saying, I think we're in 100% agreement with this. I think they need to
We
get
all loved
Tig
it.
Notaro back to our century and put her on board Pike's Enterprise.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
She should fall through a hole in time so that we can have Tig Notaro.
Her
So-
deadpanness is
On a
perfect.
good
So
show.
great. So great. My problem with this week's episode, Rob, is it kind of felt like 3 episodes kind of crammed together, and none of the episodes had enough time to breathe.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Like, I'm interested. I was interested in the whole plot line about like I'm really interested in what's going on in whatever the 31st century. I'm really interested in that, but I didn't care in the slightest about the whole plot line thing towards the end where they have to go and get the MacGuffin.
Yeah.
And that was 20 minutes of the episode.
Well, I just felt like this was the first episode where something finally happened. Like
sure.
they achieved something instead of just flailing around, like, oh, we're in future space. What's going on? I don't know. Let's meet a new person who doesn't give us an answer to anything. You know what I mean? So this was the first one's like, finally, we reached the plot point, Now we can move on with the story.
Yeah, and what is this? This is like episode 5. They're like halfway through the season.
Yeah.
I don't know. I am enjoying this season for whatever it's worth. I cannot say that about a lot. Like, I would say they're shooting 50-50 on the show as a whole. But this season, I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, and I've always been more of a Star Wars than a Star Trek guy.
Me too.
That's true.
And I don't care that it isn't a typical Trek, that I don't care that it's quote unquote new Trek.
Sure.
That it isn't,
Kelvin
Planet of the
timeline.
Week or whatever. It's just I find sort of the mythos of Star Trek to be almost completely uninteresting. You know what I mean? For me, the whole
they find it uninteresting.
Yeah,
they
the whole
don't
idea of
So why
utopia
should we?
is ridiculous to me, quite frankly. Maybe it's that I'm a Gen Xer and I've lived through this time, but the idea that human beings stop fighting is ridiculous to me. So, it's just a hard pill to swallow when I hear about that. There isn't any good. There's no good history. There's no good backstory. It's all like,
Yeah.
And then everyone worked together for 300 years.
Well,
come on.
so even worse than that, you had a huge global conflict and war, and then everyone got together as a result of the Vulcans coming. I don't know. It's always been weakish as hell. Let's just be clear.
I've never had
That
a
said,
problem with it,
if
but-
they had stuck to it, it would have been fine, right? The problem is they're just like, we're going to change this and this and this. And it's like, if it doesn't matter to you, why should it matter to me? So.
Yeah, they struggle. I mean, they struggle honestly with the same thing that I think that Star Wars did at some point, which is that they built so much world. And in Star Wars' case, it's the expanded universe more than the Clone Worlds. But they built so much world that the people creating the new material, there was just no way for them to be consistent. And Star Trek very much has that problem. They're just not consistent. And I'm like, if you don't care, then I don't care. So then why do I? So a famous spaceship appears in this week's episode from previous Star Trek lore, and there's no way of knowing.
Is
what
it a
you actually
Tholian? It's a
saw.
Tholian, isn't it?
What's that?
Is it a Tholian? I bet you it's a Tholian ship.
No.
It doesn't matter. But when you see it,
It doesn't matter.
like, you don't know what it means because you don't believe that the world is consistent, if that makes sense. Like, maybe it's the same ship, maybe it's the modified ship, maybe it's just the same ship plus 12 revisions or whatever, 12 upgrades. It's hard to say, and that kind of bothers me. I mean, I get it when you're running a show that has been 50 years.
Yeah, I just figured they threw it in because, because they could. Like,
Because why not?
It doesn't serve any point other than the people say, "Oh, that's hilarious that ship is there."
See, I actually, given where they were, like, I feel like you could have made sense, but I don't think that they did it the way that they didn't do it the way I would have done it. The way I would have done it, which is dumb, but you remember the beginning of Valerian? The only part of Valerian, which is that I thought was cool, where they're building the space station, and you just have the space station getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and people adding onto it, and more people shaking hands. If they would have done that, I think that would have made more sense for me.
Yeah. I'm still upset about the scale of the Yorktown in Star Trek Beyond Fast and the Furious movie.
Ooh, that's a whole different problem.
Yeah, it's like that's just not within their scope. Yeah,
gonna need more Beastie Boys.
Yeah, ugh, boy, that was a bad movie.
Yeah, it was a bad movie, but I got that particular scene is so ridiculous that I smile every time I see it. I have to be honest.
Which one? Which scene, dude?
The scene where
he's driving the motorcycle?
Where sabotage finally kicks in, and
that's what blows up.
Yeah, and that's what blows up all the other spaceships.
So
it is so stupid that it makes me smile.
That movie has a lot of I also super enjoy, but not on a Star Trek level. I super enjoy the sequence with like the spaceships flying through the tubes of water. Like they're inside of space water.
It's so
so dumb, but it's visually awesome. And I got no beefs with that. There's a new Baby Yoda today. Oh, we didn't talk about Baby Yoda and the eggs.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet, but go ahead. Go ahead.
We should save it. Rob, it's great.
It is, and both you and I, we talked about and had the same thought when the scene comes and he's looking at them. I'm like, oh, he's gonna. Wouldn't it be hilarious if he just started eating those eggs? And sure enough, he does.
And they keep going with it.
Yeah, it's a little creepy. I saw I think it was a Vanity Fair piece, or maybe it was a parody of it. I didn't read it, but the headline was people asking to cancel Baby Yoda because he committed genocide. Yep. I thought was hilarious. So I don't know if it was a joke article someone wrote for Vanity Fair or if it was just all of it was fake.
Oh, it's real. People are really pissed.
It made me smile this morning.
Kat's been reading all these articles about this all week, and she keeps giving me the updates on like who's mad about Baby Yoda now, because that's like a big story this week.
That's insane.
I love that there's this concept of someone being upset at Baby Yoda.
Ugh.
I mean,
well, to be fair,
animal. He's hungry.
What he does is a really terrible thing, especially since the whole point is they have to get this clutch of eggs because it's the last their line. Their line is going to become extinct if they don't get these eggs. And
it's genocide.
Baby Yoda's he's just sneaking them too. He's like hiding them.
He's like, these are really good.
He's so happy.
Even when they take him away, he's got some hidden in his little robe. It's fantastic.
All right, let's have a discussion about morals and ethics. Okay, so suppose you really, really love caviar, right? And somebody says to you, well, looks like beluga's going to be extinct next year, but I have some of the last beluga caviar.
Oh, it's much worse than this, Chris. Imagine somebody holds up to you the last can of beluga caviar in the world and says, you have a choice. We can either eat these or hatch these eggs.
Well, it's even worse. He also then explains to you, it turns out beluga sturgeon are as intelligent as people. Yeah. They just don't have hands, and they've never invented math, but they have feelings and they have culture.
Yep.
And his plan is to take these eggs and raise them to extend their line, or you could eat them.
I won't lie.
And I think I know which one Baby Yoda chose.
Yeah.
Yes. Repeatedly. There's Funko Pop
And remember,
figurines.
he's 50 years old.
There's a Funko Pop figurine of Baby Yoda and the jar of eggs.
It's almost like the filmmakers are like saying, "We dare you to not like this."
Well,
thing,
that was conscious.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sure.
All right, there we go.
Like-
Autocomplete. Baby Yoda auto-completed Funko Pop eggs.
Yoda, Funko Pop.
I'll put it up on the.
No, I'll share the screen.
It is truly lovely.
Oh, this is so good.
All right, it's on the zone. There it is. Baby
There
Yoda
she
and
is.
jar of eggs. Yay, genocide!
Oh,
My favorite
God,
comment
that's
on all of
great.
that is, given what we know now about Baby Yoda, we've watched him eat that little frog hole, and we've watched him eat like a large number of the eggs out of that little chamber. It is clear that Baby Yoda, or that old Yoda, was not hanging out on Dagobah to hide. He was hanging out on
No.
Dagobah because that
like-
entire planet is food, and he is
Yep.
just running around with his little lightsaber, slaughtering everything and eating everything.
It's an all-you-can-eat buffet for that little dude.
That's
Uh,
great.
So did you watch this week's episode yet, Rob, or no?
The Mandalorian?
Yeah.
I haven't seen the one that came out today. No, I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
I have to wait. I have to watch it with my wife. I value my
So
marriage.
good. And this is the scene we should go out on. This is so good.
Yeah, we should say goodbye. Thanks for hanging
So
out,
fun.
guys.
Good seeing ya.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
good seeing you too.
Goodbye, Rob Roseboom.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Chris DePona.
Goodbye.
This has been episode 542 of Geeks in Space. I'm Rob Commander Taco Maldo. We'll see you Monday, where maybe by then we'll all have been caught up on The Mandalorian and we can see what happens.